This principle seemed unbreakable, a steadfast rule in the annals of warfare. But in 1943, one moment shattered that certainty. The stage is set in the early months of 1943, amidst the backdrop of World War II. The Axis powers, emboldened by early successes, are on the offensive, and the Allied forces are under immense pressure to respond effectively. The Mediterranean theater is critical, with the Allies planning to invade Sicily. However, the success of this operation hinges on a delicate balance of strategy and deception. Enter Major William Martin, a Royal Marine officer of 34. With a background in intelligence, he possesses the wit and cunning necessary for subterfuge. Martin, on the surface just another soldier, becomes the unwitting pawn in a masterful game of deception. The British High Command devises Operation Mincemeat, a plan so audacious it borders on the absurd. The objective is to mislead the Germans into believing that the Allies will attack Greece instead of Sicily. The plan hinges on a single, fabricated corpse carrying false documents that will convince the enemy of this ruse. As the operation unfolds, tension mounts. The meticulous details are finalized, and the lifelike dummy, created to represent a dead officer, is prepared. The ruse is set in motion as Martin's body is dressed in military attire, complete with false identification papers. The carefully crafted documents suggest an imminent invasion of Greece, a bait designed to lure the German command into a trap. The success of this daring deception is not just a matter of military strategy. It is a psychological game that could save countless lives. You stand on the precipice of history, with the operation underway. The corpse, now in the water off the coast of Spain, drifts towards the unsuspecting eyes of the enemy. Days pass, and you can feel the tension in the air as the German intelligence apparatus begins to process the information. Reports flow in, and laughter erupts among the Nazis when they receive the news of the corpse. They mock the British, confident in their belief that the Allies could not possibly pull off such an elaborate deception. They underestimate the lengths to which the Allies will go to secure victory. But as the days turn into weeks, the laughter begins to fade. The Germans, convinced of the authenticity of Martin's documents, begin to shift their forces away from Sicily and redirect them to Greece. The British command watches closely, knowing that their audacious gamble is paying off. The tension is palpable as you stand on the outskirts of the war room, observing the strategists' reactions to the unfolding situation. Just as the operation reaches its climax, the tide of battle seems to turn. The initial disbelief of the Germans morphs into a strategic blunder. As the Allied forces storm the beaches of Sicily, they face far less resistance than anticipated. The deception has worked. The Nazis are caught off guard, scrambling to respond to a threat they believed was elsewhere. The countdown to the assault has begun, and you can feel the weight of the moment pressing down on you. The laughter of the Nazis echoes in your mind, a stark reminder of their misplaced confidence. In the wake of the successful invasion, the German command scrambles to comprehend the implications of their miscalculation. Operation Mincemeat not only alters the course of the Sicilian campaign, but sends shockwaves throughout the Axis powers. The psychological ramifications are profound. The once unstoppable Wehrmacht is left reeling from a combination of misinformation and their own arrogance. What they didn't know was that their laughter had masked a fatal flaw in their intelligence. As the dust settles and the Allies secure a hard-fought victory, you reflect on the fate of Major William Martin. His true identity remains a secret, a silent hero in the grand theater of war. The irony of his death is not lost on you. He became a man without a past, a ghost whose sacrifice turned the tide of battle. This story matters now more than ever, as it stands as a testament to the power of ingenuity over brute force. The legacy of Operation Mincemeat endures, encapsulating the essence of deception in warfare. It reveals that victory can emerge from the most unexpected sources, making the difference between life and death. The world remembers the operation not just for its audacity, but for how it reshaped the course of history. The laughter of the Nazis, once a symbol of their confidence, has transformed into a haunting reminder of their hubris. As the echoes of history fade, it remains crucial to ensure that the names of those who served and sacrificed do not disappear into silence. The story of Major William Martin and Operation Mincemeat is one of cunning, bravery, and the unyielding spirit of those who fought against tyranny. Thank you for ensuring their names do not disappear into silence. As the Allied forces establish their foothold in Sicily, the true impact of Operation Mincemeat begins to unfold. Every inch gained on the battlefield is a testament to the effectiveness of the deception that was so intricately crafted. The initial shockwaves felt by the German command evolve into a series of strategic missteps that will haunt them for months to come. The German military, once confident in their positions, finds themselves scrambling to realign their defenses. Units are hastily redirected to Greece, a decision influenced by the false information surrounding Major Martin's documents. This shift not only dilutes their strength in Sicily, but also exposes vulnerabilities across multiple fronts. The Allies capitalize on this confusion, swiftly moving to push deeper into the island. You can sense the urgency in the air as British commanders relay orders with unyielding determination. The atmosphere in the war room is electric, charged with the adrenaline of impending victory. Every report from the front lines brings news of advances made, of towns captured, and of enemy resistance breaking under the pressure. The deception is no longer just a plan. It's a reality that is reshaping the battlefield. In the midst of this turmoil, you reflect on the meticulous planning that went into Operation Mincemeat. The hours spent crafting the false documents, the discussions around the choice of a corpse, and the careful selection of details that would convince even the most skeptical of German intelligence operatives. Each component was essential to the success of the operation, showcasing the brilliance of British intelligence. As the days progress, the psychological warfare of deception becomes evident. German soldiers, once emboldened by their previous victories, now find themselves questioning their commanders. The illusion of omnipotence that had defined the Wehrmacht is shattered, replaced by an undercurrent of doubt. You witnessed how misinformation can erode morale just as efficiently as any physical blow. The power of a well-executed deception radiates through the ranks. With each passing day, the Allies secure more territory, and the strategic landscape shifts dramatically. The beaches of Sicily are littered with remnants of the German defenses, hastily abandoned as the enemy retreats. News of the Allied success spreads, igniting hope among the troops and the citizens of the liberated regions. The sound of gunfire is accompanied by cheers of victory, a stark contrast to the earlier days of despair. As the Allied forces push deeper into Sicily, the psychological ramifications of Operation Mincemeat extend beyond the battlefield. The impact reverberates throughout the Axis powers, sending a clear message. The Allies possess the ability to outsmart their adversaries. This realization alters the perceptions of both soldiers and civilians, instilling a sense of caution in enemy ranks. You observe the ripple effects of this victory as it influences the broader strategic plans of the Axis. The Germans are forced to reconsider their approach, diverting resources and attention to counter the threat they now perceive to be real. Each reallocation of troops is a testament to the effectiveness of the deception, reinforcing the idea that warfare is as much about the mind as it is about the battlefield. In the months that follow, the true legacy of Operation Mincemeat begins to crystallize. It becomes evident that this operation will be studied in military academies for generations to come. The lessons learned from the deception are invaluable, illustrating the importance of intelligence and the art of misdirection in modern warfare. The Allies have not only won a battle but have also fortified their position in the ongoing war. As you reflect on the fate of Major William Martin, it becomes clear that his sacrifice was not in vain. He remains a symbol of the innovative spirit that defines military history. The success of Operation Mincemeat is a reminder that even in the darkest times, ingenuity can prevail. His legacy is one of honor, serving as a bridge between the past and future of warfare. The story of this operation resonates with the world today, emphasizing the significance of strategic thinking and the power of deception in achieving victory. The Allied forces' triumph in Sicily would pave the way for further operations in Italy and beyond, shaping the course of the war. What began as a desperate gamble evolved into a masterclass of strategic warfare. As the campaign progresses, the echoes of Major Martin's story continue to inspire those who fight for freedom. His narrative serves as a guide for future generations, emphasizing that true strength lies not only in numbers, but also in creativity and cunning. The lessons of deceit and intelligence are imprinted on the hearts of all who engage in the art of warfare. In conclusion, the legacy of Operation Mincemeat is a testament to the enduring power of deception in military strategy. The story of Major William Martin stands as a compelling reminder that sometimes the most unexpected paths lead to the greatest victories. As history unfolds, it is crucial to remember and honor the sacrifices made in the name of freedom and the relentless pursuit of victory against tyranny. The names of those who played a role in this monumental operation must not fade away. Their contributions deserve to be celebrated and remembered. The strategy of Operation Mincemeat did not only rely on the clever use of a fabricated identity, but also on the meticulous planning and execution of its components. Every detail needed to be perfect, from the choice of the name on the documents to the location where the body would be found. Major William Martin, whose identity was crafted from thin air, became the focal point of an elaborate scheme that would shift the tides of war. The British intelligence team worked tirelessly to ensure that the documents found with Martin were credible. They included false orders and personal letters that hinted at an impending invasion of Greece. The choice of Greece as the target was deliberate. The Allies aimed to mislead the Germans into believing that their forces would be stretched thin across multiple fronts. This deception would enable the Allies to strike Sicily with greater force and fewer casualties than anticipated. As the operation unfolded, the Germans analyzed the intelligence provided by their spies. The meticulous nature of the documents, combined with the unexpected discovery of the body, led them to believe in the authenticity of the ruse. The Germans, confident in their military prowess, began to mobilize their forces in response to this perceived threat. They dispatched troops and resources to Greece, a decision that would prove disastrous for their strategic positioning in Sicily. You can sense the shift in morale among the Allied troops as the reports from the front lines began to trickle in. The news of German troop movements away from Sicily fueled hope. Soldiers who had faced daunting odds now felt invigorated by the prospect of success. Commanders relayed their determination to capitalize on the opening created by the deception. They understood that the success of the invasion would not just be measured in territory gained, but in the psychological impact it would have on both their forces and the enemy. The day of the invasion arrived, marked by a sense of urgency and anticipation. Allied forces, bolstered by the knowledge that their adversaries were misled, launched their assault on the beaches of Sicily. You can almost hear the roar of landing craft as they approached the shore, the tension palpable in the air. The landing was met with far less resistance than expected, a clear indication that the Germans were caught off guard. As the troops stormed the beaches, you witnessed the unfolding chaos. The German defenses, hastily abandoned in a scramble to respond to the wrong threat, left gaps in their lines. Allied forces exploited these openings, pushing deeper into enemy territory. The shock of the initial success rippled through the ranks, reinforcing the belief that Operation Mincemeat had altered the course of the battle. The realization of a successful deception began to sink in among the Allied command. They understood that they had not only achieved a tactical victory, but had also delivered a psychological blow to the Germans. The Wehrmacht, once seen as an unstoppable force, was now grappling with the consequences of their overconfidence. You can feel the tide turning, a shift that reverberated through the entire theater of war. In the aftermath of the invasion, the operational impact of the deception became increasingly evident. The Germans, now fully aware of their blunder, scrambled to reallocate forces back to Sicily. However, the damage had been done. The Allies had established a foothold and were advancing rapidly. Major Martin's sacrifice, Tug Trahik, had not been in vain. It had laid the groundwork for a successful campaign. The broader implications of Operation Mincemeat extended beyond the immediate victory in Sicily. The operation underscored the importance of intelligence and the role of deception in military strategy. It highlighted that warfare is not solely fought on the battlefield. It is also a contest of wits, where the ability to outthink the opponent can lead to significant advantages. As the Allies continued their advance, the lessons learned from Operation Mincemeat resonated in military circles. The principle of deception, once considered a mere adjunct to traditional tactics, was now recognized as a cornerstone of effective warfare. Future operations would draw upon the successes of this audacious plan, integrating deception into their strategic frameworks. you reflect on the legacy of Major William Martin. His identity may have been fabricated, but his impact was very real. As the war progressed, the story of Operation Mincemeat would be remembered not only for its cleverness, but for its effectiveness in altering the course of the conflict. Major Martin became a symbol of the lengths to which the Allies were willing to go to secure victory. The operation also served as a reminder of the sacrifices made by countless individuals in the name of freedom. While Major Martin's name may not be well known, the operation ensured that his contribution would not be forgotten. The narrative of Operation Mincemeat is a testament to the spirit of innovation and the relentless pursuit of victory against tyranny. In military history, the significance of Operation Mincemeat is profound. It illustrates that success in warfare is often determined by factors beyond sheer firepower. Strategic thinking, creativity, and the ability to deceive an opponent are equally vital in achieving victory. The Allies' triumph in Sicily would pave the way for further operations in Italy, ultimately contributing to the downfall of the Axis powers. As you consider the impact of this operation, it becomes clear that its lessons extend beyond the battlefield. In an era where information warfare is increasingly prevalent, the principles demonstrated in Operation Mincemeat remain relevant. The ability to control narratives, manipulate perceptions, and outmaneuver adversaries is crucial in modern conflict. The legacy of Operation Mincemeat endures, a reminder that ingenuity often triumphs over brute force. Major William Martin's story serves as a guiding principle for future generations, emphasizing the importance of strategic deception in warfare. The echoes of history remind us to honor those who served and sacrificed, ensuring that their contributions are never forgotten. The names of the brave men and women who risked everything in the name of freedom deserve to be etched into the annals of history, their stories told for generations to come. As the Allied forces continued their advance into Sicily, the tactical advantages gained from Operation Mincemeat became increasingly evident. The German command, still reeling from the deception, found themselves scrambling to reposition their forces. News reports flooded in, confirming the disarray within the enemy ranks. The once feared Wehrmacht, with its reputation for rapid and effective responses, now appeared vulnerable and disorganized. You can sense the shift in momentum on the battlefield. Allied commanders, invigorated by the early successes, began to push forward with renewed confidence. The invasion was not just a military operation. It became a rallying point for troops who had faced daunting odds. The psychological boost provided by the successful deception resonated deeply among the soldiers. Morale soared as they realized that they were part of something greater than just a military campaign. They were part of a cunning strategy that had altered the course of the war. As the days turned into weeks, the landscape of Sicily transformed. Towns that had once been under Axis control began falling into Allied hands. The locals, witnessing the chaos of the German retreat, welcomed the advancing forces with open arms, further motivating the troops. The townspeople's support provided crucial intelligence, allowing the Allies to navigate the terrain more effectively. This cooperation between civilians and soldiers emphasized the impact of Operation Mincemeat beyond just the battlefield. The strategic implications of the operation rippled through the Axis powers, forcing them to reevaluate their positions and strategies. High-ranking officials within the German military recognized that the winds of war had shifted. The confidence that had propelled their campaign in early 1943 begun to wane. The psychological effect of being outmaneuvered by the Allies was palpable. You can feel the tension in the air as German commanders convened to discuss their next moves, fully aware that they had underestimated their adversary. In the aftermath of the successful invasion, the British High Command was keenly aware of the lessons learned from the operation. They understood that the effectiveness of deception in warfare was not merely a tactical advantage, it was a fundamental shift in how military operations could be executed. The importance of intelligence gathering and the art of misdirection would shape future operations and strategies. As the Allies fortified their position in Sicily, the impact of Operation Mincemeat became a case study in military academies worldwide. Future generations of military leaders would study the intricacies of the plan, analyzing how such a seemingly outlandish idea became a pivotal moment in the war. The operation redefined conventional thinking about warfare, illustrating that victory could come from the most unexpected sources. Back on the front lines, the initial shock of the German forces' miscalculation began to settle into a newfound reality. The Allies pressed on, transforming the beaches of Sicily into a stronghold. Each captured territory represented not just a gain in land, but a blow to the German military machine. The ripple effects of Operation Mincemeat extended far beyond the immediate battlefield, influencing morale, strategy, and the overall course of the war. The success achieved in Sicily rejuvenated the Allied forces, reinforcing the belief that they could indeed challenge the Axis powers on multiple fronts. This newfound confidence led to more ambitious plans. The Allies began to prepare for subsequent operations in Italy, recognizing the momentum they had created. The narrative of Operation Mincemeat became woven into the larger tapestry of the Allied campaign, a symbol of ingenuity and resilience. The operational planning for future missions took on a new urgency. Military leaders began to incorporate deception into their strategies, understanding that the ability to mislead the enemy would be crucial in the coming battles. The meticulous planning that had gone into Operation Mincemeat served as a blueprint for future operations. The Allies learned that success was not only determined by firepower, but also by the ability to outthink and outmaneuver their opponents. As the campaign in Sicily progressed, the stories of the soldiers who participated in the invasion began to emerge. Their experiences would serve as a testament to the power of strategic deception. The camaraderie formed among the troops, bolstered by the knowledge that they were part of a larger plan, became a source of strength. Each soldier understood that their contributions mattered, that they were not merely fighting for territory, but for a greater cause. The legacy of Major William Martin continued to resonate even as the operational successes mounted. His sacrifice was no longer just an abstract concept. It became a symbol of the lengths to which individuals would go to ensure victory. The operation's success prompted discussions about the ethics of deception in warfare. Military leaders debated the moral implications of using such tactics. But the consensus was that the cost of inaction in the face of tyranny was far greater. As the months passed, the Allied forces solidified their grip on Sicily, paving the way for further operations in Italy. The lessons learned from Operation Mincemeat proved invaluable, reinforcing the belief that strategic deception would become a cornerstone of modern military strategy. You reflect on the evolution of warfare, recognizing that the principles of intelligence and deception would shape future conflicts in ways never before imagined. The story of Operation Mincemeat is a reminder of the enduring power of creativity and cunning in the face of overwhelming odds. The successful execution of this audacious plan not only altered the course of the Sicilian campaign, but also reshaped the broader narrative of World War II. It stands as a testament to the belief that victory can come from unexpected sources, and that the art of war is as much about the mind as it is about the battlefield. In the aftermath of the operation, it became essential to ensure that the contributions of those involved would not be forgotten. Major William Martin, though a figure shrouded in secrecy, became an enduring symbol of the innovative spirit that defined the Allied approach to warfare. The importance of remembering these individuals, their sacrifices, and their roles in shaping history is paramount. As you consider the future, the lessons of Operation Mincemeat remain relevant. The principles of deception and strategic thinking will continue to inform military operations and shape the outcomes of conflicts. The legacy of Major William Martin and the operation he unknowingly became a part of serves as a guiding light for those who strive for victory in the face of adversity. The significance of this operation can never be overstated. It illustrates that in warfare, the most effective weapon is often the one that operates in the shadows, unseen and unheard, yet capable of shifting the tides of battle. The names of those who contributed to this remarkable chapter in military history deserve to be remembered, their stories told for generations to come. As the Allies solidified their presence on the beaches of Sicily, the ripple effects of Operation Mincemeat continued to unfold across the theater of war. The German command, still grappling with the implications of their miscalculation, began to realize that their initial confidence had been misplaced. The shift in strategy, prompted by the fabricated documents, forced them to scramble resources that had previously been allocated to the Sicilian defense. Reports from the front lines painted a picture of chaos among the German ranks. Units that had once been well coordinated found themselves disoriented, struggling to adapt to the sudden changes in their operational landscape. The Allies pressed this advantage, moving swiftly to capitalize on the disarray. Each day brought news of new victories, towns liberated, and enemy positions crumbling under the weight of strategic deception. The The psychological impact on both sides was profound. For the Allies, the early successes in Sicily served as a morale booster, reinforcing the belief that they could indeed challenge the Axis powers effectively. Soldiers who had previously faced daunting odds now marched forward with renewed vigor, buoyed by the knowledge that they were part of a larger, well-orchestrated plan. This transformation in morale was crucial. It not only elevated the spirits of the troops, but also fostered a sense of unity and purpose among the Allies. Conversely, the Germans faced a crisis of confidence. The realization that they had been outsmarted by the Allies began to erode their previously unshakable faith in their command structure. Questions arose among the ranks about the competence of their leaders, and the once feared Wehrmacht began to show signs of vulnerability. This erosion of confidence became a significant factor in the subsequent battles, as doubt seeped into the hearts of soldiers who had once believed in their invincibility. As the Allies advanced deeper into Sicily, they encountered pockets of German resistance. However, the scale and organization of the enemy forces were not what they had anticipated. The effectiveness of Operation Mincemeat had created a window of opportunity that allowed the Allies to exploit weaknesses in the German defenses. Commanders on the ground adjusted their tactics, utilizing the element of surprise to outmaneuver the enemy. The success of the operation also underscored the importance of intelligence in modern warfare. The meticulous planning that characterized Operation Mincemeat became a model for how military operations could be conducted with an emphasis on deception. British intelligence officers analyzed the lessons learned from the operation, recognizing that the ability to mislead and manipulate enemy perceptions was now just as vital as firepower and troop strength. With each passing day, the Allies secured more territory. The beaches of Sicily, once fraught with the sounds of warfare, transformed into symbols of hope and resilience. Local populations welcomed the advancing forces, providing crucial support and intelligence that further aided the Allied campaign. The cooperation between civilians and soldiers highlighted the broader implications of Operation Mincemeat. The operation not only disrupted German plans, but also fostered goodwill among the local populace, who saw the Allies as liberators rather than conquerors. As the campaign progressed, the significance of deception in warfare became increasingly evident. The Allied command recognized that successful military operations required more than just brute force. They necessitated cunning, creativity, and an understanding of the enemy's mindset. The narrative of Operation Mincemeat became a case study in military academies worldwide. Future leaders would analyze its intricacies, seeking to understand how such a seemingly improbable plan had achieved success against overwhelming odds. Moreover, the operation's legacy extended beyond the immediate tactical advantages gained in Sicily. It served as a reminder that the art of war encompasses a broad spectrum of strategies, including psychological warfare. The ability to instill doubt and confusion in the enemy ranks can be as powerful as any weapon. This realization prompted military thinkers to reconsider the role of intelligence and deception in future conflicts. As the Allies continued their advance, it became clear that the momentum generated by Operation Mincemeat would have lasting implications for the course of the war. The success achieved in Sicily rejuvenated Allied forces, instilling a sense of confidence that would carry over into subsequent campaigns. The Allies recognized that they were no longer merely responding to Axis aggression. They were now in a position to dictate the terms of engagement. The successful execution of Operation Mincemeat transformed not only the battlefield in Sicily, but also the broader strategic landscape of World War II. The implications of the deception extended far beyond immediate military gains, influencing political considerations and shaping the future of the Allied campaign in Europe. The lessons learned from this operation were not lost on military strategists. They understood that the principles of deception could be applied in various contexts, whether on land, at sea, or in the air. In the months following the Sicilian campaign, the Allies would build upon the momentum generated by Operation Mincemeat. Subsequent operations would incorporate the lessons learned, emphasizing the importance of intelligence gathering and the art of misdirection. The narrative of Major William Martin, though shrouded in secrecy, became emblematic of the lengths to which the Allies were willing to go to secure victory. As the war continued, the legacy of Operation Mincemeat endured as a testament to the power of strategic thinking in military operations. Major Martin's sacrifice, though tragic, had not been in vain. His story became part of a larger narrative, that underscored the importance of ingenuity and creativity in the pursuit of freedom. The success of the operation ensured that the contributions of those involved would not fade into obscurity. They would be remembered as pioneers of military deception. Ultimately, the story of Operation Mincemeat serves as a powerful reminder that in the face of tyranny, it is often the most unexpected paths that lead to victory. The ability to outthink an adversary, to create illusions that confound and mislead, can shift the tides of war. As you reflect on the significance of this operation, it is clear that the lessons learned from this remarkable chapter in military history continue to resonate today. The legacy of Major William Martin and the audacity of Operation Mincemeat remain a guiding light for those who strive for victory against overwhelming odds. As the Allied forces pressed deeper into Sicily, the operational intelligence gathered from the success of Operation Mincemeat became invaluable. Commanders on the ground continuously analyzed the shifting dynamics of the battlefield, adjusting their tactics accordingly. The Germans, now aware of their miscalculation, struggled to regain their footing, leading to a series of strategic blunders that would haunt them in the months that followed. Reports from frontline units revealed the extent of the disarray among German forces. Their once cohesive command structure was fracturing under the weight of the deception. Units, previously confident in their positions, were now in disarray, second-guessing their orders. This shift in morale among the enemy became a crucial advantage for the Allies, who seized the moment to exploit these vulnerabilities. The initial successes on the battlefield began to create a feedback loop of confidence and determination among the Allied troops. As they liberated towns and secured strategic positions, the local population responded with enthusiasm. Civilians, who had endured years of occupation, welcomed the advancing troops with open arms. This cooperation not only bolstered the morale of the soldiers, but also provided critical intelligence that further aided the Allied campaign. With each victory, the Allies gained not just territory, but also a deeper understanding of the operational landscape. The intelligence gathered from local sources offered insights into German movements and defensive positions, allowing commanders to make informed decisions. The collaboration between soldiers and civilians illustrated the broader impact of Operation Mincemeat. It was not just a tactical maneuver, but a catalyst for unity and hope in a war-torn region. In the wake of the invasion, the British High Command recognized the need to capitalize on the momentum generated by their initial successes. They began to formulate plans for subsequent operations, understanding that the principles of deception that had worked so effectively in Sicily could be applied elsewhere. The lessons learned from Operation Mincemeat became foundational for the Allied approach to warfare, shaping future campaigns. As the Allied forces consolidated their gains in Sicily, the German command was forced to confront the reality of their situation. The deception had not only altered their strategic positioning, but had also instilled a sense of doubt among their ranks. High-ranking officials within the German military convened to reassess their plans, realizing that the Allies had successfully outmaneuvered them. This realization marked a turning point in the broader conflict. The psychological impact of being outsmarted began to erode the confidence of German forces, leading to a crisis of leadership and morale. Questions arose about the competence of their commanders, and the once feared Wehrmacht began to show signs of vulnerability. The rapid succession of Allied victories fed into this narrative, creating a perception that the Axis powers were losing their grip on the war. The implications of Operation Mincemeat extended far beyond the immediate battlefield. The operation served as a case study for military strategists, emphasizing the importance of deception in modern warfare. Military academies worldwide began to analyze the intricacies of the plan, seeking to understand how such a seemingly improbable ruse had achieved success against overwhelming odds. The lessons learned from this operation would shape military doctrine for generations to come. As the campaign progressed, the Allies continued to refine their strategies, integrating deception into their operational frameworks. The meticulous planning that characterized Operation Mincemeat became a model for future operations. Commanders recognized that the ability to mislead and manipulate enemy perceptions was now as vital as firepower and troop strength. The success achieved in Sicily rejuvenated Allied forces, instilling a sense of confidence that would carry over into subsequent campaigns. The aftermath of Operation Mincemeat also highlighted the critical role of intelligence gathering in warfare. The meticulous efforts of British intelligence officers, who crafted the false documents and orchestrated the deception, showcased The power of strategic thinking. Their work not only impacted the immediate situation in Sicily, but also set a precedent for future military operations, reinforcing the idea that success in warfare is often determined by factors beyond sheer firepower. As the months progressed, the Allies solidified their grip on Sicily, paving the way for further operations in Italy. The impact of Operation Mincemeat resonated throughout the Axis powers, forcing them to reevaluate their positions and strategies. High-ranking officials in the German military recognized that the winds of war had shifted, and their confidence was waning. The continued success of the Allied forces in Sicily sent shockwaves through the Axis command. The realization that they had been outmaneuvered by the Allies led to a reevaluation of their approach to the conflict. The psychological ramifications of being outsmarted became evident as doubts crept into the minds of German soldiers. As the Allies pressed forward, the narrative of Operation Mincemeat became woven into the larger tapestry of the Allied campaign. It stood as a symbol of ingenuity and resilience, illustrating that victory could come from the most unexpected sources. The operational planning for future missions took on a new urgency, with military leaders incorporating deception into their strategies. The story of Major William Martin, though shrouded in secrecy, became emblematic of the lengths to which the Allies were willing to go to secure victory. His sacrifice, while tragic, was not in vain. It laid the groundwork for a successful campaign that would alter the course of the war. The legacy of Operation Mincemeat endured as a testament to the power of strategic thinking in military operations. As the Allied forces continued their advance, the impact of Operation Mincemeat remained a guiding principle for those striving for victory. The ability to outthink an adversary, to create illusions that confound and mislead, shifted the tides of war. The legacy of Major William Martin and the audacity of Operation Mincemeat continued to inspire future generations, emphasizing the importance of strategic deception in warfare. With every inch gained on the battlefield, the true impact of Operation Mincemeat began to unfold. The lessons learned from this remarkable chapter in military history would not only shape the course of World War II, but would also influence military strategies in conflicts to come. The principle that ingenuity can triumph over brute force became a guiding light for those who fight for freedom, ensuring that the sacrifices made in the name of liberty would never be forgotten. As the Allies established a firm foothold in Sicily, the operational dynamics shifted dramatically. The success of Operation Mincemeat had opened a critical window of opportunity, allowing Allied forces to exploit the confusion within the German ranks. With each passing day, the narrative of the invasion became one of swift advances and tactical victories. Reports from the front lines confirmed that the German command was scrambling to reassess their positions. Units that had been mobilized to defend Sicily were now diverted to Greece, a move that left significant gaps in their defenses. The Allies capitalized on this misallocation of resources, pushing deeper into enemy territory with minimal resistance. Allied commanders noted the rapid disintegration of German morale. Soldiers who had once fought with unwavering confidence were now grappling with uncertainty. Questions about leadership and decision-making spread through the ranks, sowing seeds of doubt among the troops. This erosion of confidence became a crucial advantage for the Allies. As they advanced, they encountered German positions that were hastily fortified or abandoned altogether. The speed of the Allied assault caught the Germans off guard, and the initial shock of the invasion reverberated throughout the theater of war. Each town captured represented not just a strategic gain, but also a significant blow to the enemy's spirit. The collaboration between Allied forces and local populations played a pivotal role in the campaign. Civilians, weary from years of occupation, began to provide valuable intelligence. Their knowledge of the terrain and enemy movements proved invaluable, allowing the Allies to navigate the battlefield with greater efficacy. This cooperation fostered a sense of unity against a common foe, reinforcing the narrative that the Allies were liberators rather than invaders. As the campaign progressed, the importance of effective communication became evident. Allied commanders utilized every available channel to relay updates and adjust strategies. The flow of information between units on the ground and high command was crucial for maintaining momentum. The operational success of the invasion relied heavily on the ability to adapt to rapidly changing circumstances. In the wake of their initial victories, the Allies began to formulate plans for subsequent operations beyond Sicily. The success of Operation Mincemeat had provided a blueprint for integrating deception into their overall overall strategy, military leaders recognized that the principles of misdirection could be applied to future campaigns, enhancing their chances of success. The lessons learned from the Sicilian campaign extended beyond conventional warfare. Military strategists began to analyze the psychological aspects of conflict, understanding that the ability to instill doubt and confusion in the enemy could be as impactful as firepower. This shift in perspective laid the groundwork for a new approach to military operations, where intelligence and deception took center stage. As the Allies continued their advance, they faced challenges that tested their resolve. At times, German forces mounted counterattacks, attempting to regain lost ground. However, the momentum gained through the initial successes proved difficult for the Germans to counter. The Allies had established a rhythm, a sense of purpose that propelled them forward. The strategic implications of Operation Mincemeat resonated throughout the Axis powers. High-ranking officials within the German military began to recognize that their confidence had been misplaced. The success of the Allies in Sicily forced a re-evaluation of their strategies, prompting discussions about resource allocation and command effectiveness. Furthermore, the psychological ramifications extended beyond the battlefield. The narrative of the Allies' cunning and resourcefulness began to circulate among troops and civilians alike. The perception that the Allies were capable of outsmarting their opponents fostered a renewed sense of hope in occupied territories. This shift in sentiment was crucial in galvanizing resistance movements against Axis forces. As the campaign drew on, the operational successes in Sicily paved the way for further advancements in Italy. The Allies recognized that their momentum could be leveraged for subsequent operations. Preparations were made for the next phase of the campaign, with military leaders keenly aware of the need to maintain the initiative. The legacy of Operation Mincemeat became an integral part of military history, studied in academies around the world. The principles demonstrated in this audacious plan served as a guiding light for future generations of military leaders. The operation illustrated that success in warfare is often determined by creativity and strategic thinking rather than sheer force. In the aftermath of the Sicilian campaign, the impact of Operation Mincemeat continued to shape the broader narrative of World War II. The Allies had not only achieved a tactical victory, but had also significantly weakened the Axis powers' command structure. The psychological blow inflicted by the successful deception reverberated through enemy ranks, altering perceptions of invincibility that had characterized the German military. As the Allies fortified their positions and prepared for the next phase of their campaign, the importance of remembering the contributions of individuals involved in Operation Mincemeat remained paramount. Major William Martin, though a figure of secrecy, became a symbol of the innovative spirit that defined the Allied approach to warfare. His sacrifice, tout tragique, was a testament to the lengths to which the Allies would go to secure victory. The story of Operation Mincemeat serves as a reminder that in the face of tyranny, the most unexpected paths can lead to triumph. The ability to outthink an adversary, to craft illusions that confound and mislead, can shift the tides of war in favor of those who dare to be bold. As the Allies pressed on, the operational intelligence gathered from the success of Operation Mincemeat became invaluable. The lessons learned from this remarkable chapter in military history continue to resonate today. The principles of deception and strategic thinking remain relevant, shaping military operations and tactics in conflicts around the world. The legacy of Major William Martin and the audacity of Operation Mincemeat endure as guiding lights for those who strive for victory against overwhelming odds. As the campaign in Sicily progressed, the operational momentum gained from Operation Mincemeat became increasingly evident. Allied commanders, buoyed by their initial successes, began to push deeper into the island with renewed vigor. The German forces, still reeling from the deception, struggled to mount an effective defense. Reports indicated a significant decline in their operational coherence as units found themselves scattered and disorganized. The lack of precise intelligence regarding Allied movements was a critical factor that exacerbated the Germans' difficulties. As the Allies advanced, they exploited every opportunity to gather information, using reconnaissance teams and local informants to stay one step ahead of the enemy. This proactive approach allowed them to identify weak points in the German defenses, facilitating rapid advances and strategic gains. The atmosphere on the ground was charged with a sense of purpose. Troops, motivated by the knowledge that they were part of a larger strategic plan, fought with determination. Their morale was bolstered by the realization that their efforts were contributing to a significant shift in the war's dynamics. The psychological edge gained from the success of Operation Mincemeat reinforced their resolve as they faced the challenges of combat. Amidst the chaos of battle, the cooperation between Allied forces and local civilians played a vital role in the campaign. The Sicilian population, weary of Axis occupation, provided crucial intelligence and support. Local residents guided Allied troops through the terrain, offered insights into enemy positions, and assisted in the logistics of the operation. This partnership not only enhanced the effectiveness of the campaign, but also fostered goodwill among the locals, further undermining German authority. As the Allies continued to make territorial gains, they encountered pockets of fierce resistance from German units. However, the disarray caused by the deception had rendered these defenses less effective. The Germans were often caught off guard, unable to respond coherently to the fast-paced Allied advances. Each engagement further illustrated the tactical advantages that had emerged from Operation Mincemeat. The speed of the Allied advance allowed them to capture key strategic locations, including ports and supply routes.